Hi, fellow traders. I hope everybody had a better day than I had. It was pretty stressful here at the Open. And if you were in the room in the community this morning, you felt it. I'm pretty sure you did. It was pretty thick. But we worked our way out of it and, ended up having a halfway decent day. So can't complain about that. That's what this trading is all about. When you get in a position that you get stuck or things aren't favorable, you have to have a plan and be able to execute. And that's why we work so hard. That's why we practice. That's why we go in the replay simulator on the weekends and just replay days in the market. Just gives us all of this extra screen time and extra practice so that when things happen, it won't throw us for a loop. We'll react to it, we'll get emotional from it, but our minds will know exactly what to do. And today was a pretty big case for that. Now I told you yesterday, when I posted I teach for outcomes, not income, and got a bunch of crazy comments. One of them was, obviously it's the one that everybody likes to spit out, that those who can do, those who can't teach, which makes absolutely no sense, because if the teachers couldn't do it, they can't teach it, and they couldn't teach it to the masses who go out and do it as well. So it just doesn't make sense. It's something they regurgitated from somebody that they heard that they really don't understand where it came from. Because in reality, teaching is an art form in of itself. So the way we look at it, and the way professional educators look at it, and anybody with any common sense looks at it, as those who can do, those who can do more, teach. Because we as teachers, we have to do more. Not only do we have to demonstrate proficiency in whatever we're teaching, especially if we're a career and technology education teacher, where we're teaching engineering, we're teaching computer assisted drafting and manufacturing. When we're teaching these things, the teachers come from the industry. It's not that they tried and they failed, because the individuals that fail in industry can't teach. That they won't pass the test to even teach. They wouldn't cut the mustard, because I work for the State Department of Education. I'm a private contractor, and I teach classes for these individuals coming from industry into the classroom. I teach the certification classes or licensure classes. And, this is one of the big issues that we talk about. And they have to understand that they're going to hear that, but they have to put their professional foot forward. And I honestly and truly believe that, those who do, or those who can do, those who can do more, they end up teaching and sharing their knowledge. But I'll take it a step further. Those who can't are the ones that bitch and moan about the ones who do teach, because they can't accept responsibility for their failures. And that's just the bottom line. If they can't do it, then they're going to blame other people. And that's not what it is. Or they may have had a teacher who they felt didn't know what they were doing. And you're going to have bad teachers. You're going to get bad teachers. But it doesn't take much for you to realize that you have a bad teacher. I watch a lot of videos, and I see a lot of videos pop up on YouTube, and I'm listening, and I'm like, damn, this dude is regurgitating what I say word for word. And I'm like, well, this guy's not genuine, because if he can't teach and use his own, words to teach what he's doing, then he doesn't know what he's doing. So you're gonna have teachers like that, but you'll be able to recognize them very quickly. So I know the people that made that comment, they're not in the room. I've had people come in the community to buy a subscription, make up an email, which you can tell if there's a brand new email, if it's just new and they make it up. I mean, there are ways to find this out. And their whole goal is to come in and try to discredit me. But they can't do it. They sit there for day after day, then they give up, because, I am who I say I am. And you can't, and you see everything I do. There's no sleight of hand. So I firmly believe, those who can do, but those who can do more, who's willing to take that extra step, are the ones that teach. And those are the ones that make a difference in those who come through the ranks and end up going out doing. All right, so let's take a look at the trades I took today. Now, the first one I took was TROX. And, this one sold off pre-market. We started to make this big move. And really, I hate it when stocks do this. They start selling off around 9:15, and they start making a move that I'm looking for before the market even opens. So that frustrates me. And when that frustration breathes over into the open, I tend to jump in trades a little bit too early. So this one, my entry should have been right here on the loss of the 5-minute opening range low. That's where my entry should have been. But I jumped it here because I'm anticipating the sell-off right under, the close here. So we open here and we start to sell off. I'm expecting a flush through this. Well, this is not even, it's not really allowing the strategy to fully set up. And so this was an early entry, and it started not to work. So when I'm in like this, what I have to do is look at the technicals. Okay, I have a max loss set, for 150 bucks. So I'm looking at the technicals. Anytime we get up over that $150 and we lock it in, I got to get out of it. So we ran up here, then we pulled back. This candle opened, and this thing took off like a rocket. So we get up to around, where I'm down about 150 bucks. It's, being in 600 shares, that's only like 25 cents. So, once I blew that, I'm like trying to get out. My platform is frozen. It's not taking any commands. And this is one of the problems that you may run into if you don't put in a hard stop to start with. And the reason I don't put in hard stops is because it just seems like as soon as I put it in, it's not long before it gets taken out and then the trade starts to work. So I didn't put in a hard stop. I just had my finger on the trigger ready to get out if it starts to take run away from me. But in this case, I couldn't. So by the time I shut the platform down and restarted it, we had made this big move and had pulled back, and this candle was just about to close. So, my hands were shaking. They were numb. I felt like I used to when I would get in a basketball game, which is why I never really made it that far. My hands would turn to butter, and I just had that feeling again. And, but my mind was working. And my mind said, look, we made this big push up. This was probably stop losses getting taken out before it makes the move down. So if you were in and you were one of those unfortunate few that had your hard stop, you would have been stopped out and then sat back and watched the move happen. So I let it work. I got in and I had my target down here at 19. I got in at 1937. Big man. I almost slipped up. Big man. I got 600 shares, and I'm like, whew, I feel pretty good today, don't I? But I let it work. Ended up taking half off here at 19, and then I was looking for the move, down to 1865. That's where I had my target. So I put my target in. So I said, let me put my stop in at break even. And I put my stop in, and before I could get my target put in good, this thing ran up and stopped me out. It ran right up and hit my stop probably within a minute, because you can see I got out here at 9:56. Around 9:57 is when I was putting the stop in, and within that 1 minute it ran up and took me out, at break even on the rest. So one good thing, it didn't really give me that much slippage, only about 5 cents, because I think I put it in at 1935 and it ran up to 1940. So that wasn't bad. So I waited for it to set up again. Got short here. We opened back up here and sold off a little bit. We just kind of was just messing around here. We weren't really making any strides. You could see that it was being held up here, and then it was being held up at 19, because it hit here, see, once, twice, 3 times, and then 3 times here. We finally broke down, and I was able to cover some at 1877. Now I had the order out at 65, and it didn't seem like we were going to get there, so I put it out at 75, and it still was acting crazy. So I went ahead and manually took it at 77, and we never could get through this level. We bounced up and took me back out at break even. So not for all of this work, we really didn't do well. To be in 600 shares and to do all this work, this really was just an okay, an okay trade. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people who took this trade with me had their stops, which was smart. Don't go in tomorrow and say, I'm not putting in any stop. Because if you're at that point where you have to put in hard stops because you're learning and you're developing the skill, you want to keep using those hard stops to protect your account. Because if you're only dealing with a limited amount of funds, you don't want to blow it up. You want to stick to your max loss stops. And if you have to put hard stops in to protect you from yourself, then that's what you have to do. Because you're going to live to fight another day. And this is going to happen. This isn't going to be the first time. This isn't going to be the last time this happens. It's going to happen. So, just be prepared for it. All right, so TROX, that was that. You can see I got in that AP. And let me show you, where the heck is the daily chart? Oh, here it is. I had to find it on the screen. Okay, on AAP, this is one of the stocks that I like. I think I told you this yesterday, that I like to trade all day. Put in a couple hundred shares and just let it go all day. This stock has a little bit over a $3 ATR, and it typically moves $3 every day, or $3.80, so it's almost $4. It makes these solid moves every day. So the last 2 days I've been late getting this thing because I've been caught up in the open, with day trades that aren't working out perfect. But today I was looking at running this from 100 down to this the 90 day here, which is at 93.89. So tomorrow I'm going to be looking for it getting down here. We're about just under $3 or just over $3 away. So decent trade. I want to take it right around where we closed here and just sit in it all day till we get the move. That's kind of what I'm looking at. That's what I was looking for today. You can see I got in. I missed the big move at the open as usual, but I was going to catch the last point and a half, which wouldn't have been a bad deal. Well, this was a perfect setup. It ran up, it fell. I waited till it got below the 9. I got in. We started working here a little bit, and then we bounced. Started to sell off a little bit. Bounce, made a higher low. I'm like, well, we're doing lunch. No need to take it off. This may just be the lunch crowd running it up. And then once we get out of lunch, we would start selling off. That's kind of what I thought was happening here. But then we recovered, and I just got to the point where this looked like we were going to push VWAP, because you could see the nice trend that it had been setting in here. And sure enough, we popped up, ran through it, right back up through 99, and then immediately sold off, and then we made the move that I was looking for. So the market kind of chopped this up for us. Typically, AAP does not trade this way. It just doesn't. And this is out of character for this stock. So tomorrow I'll still be, looking for this. This will be on my watch in the swing room, because I manage this trade just like I would a swing trade. Even though it's an all-day trade, I give it more room and I manage it just like I would a swing. It can take big swings and pullbacks. So that's what I'm going to do. I couldn't manage this like a swing at this point because technically this trade was dead. And it didn't make any sense for me to let this go, because at this point this had turned into a day trade, because I missed the initial move where I would just get in and let it work. So ended up losing, I think with commissions it's going to be around 41, 42 bucks. So not bad. I mean, I can deal with it. And the last trade I took was IMMU, and this was a breaking news play. And the way I trade breaking news is I never chase it on the initial breakout. I always wait for it to pull back and retrace at least half of its breakout move or break down. I can go either way with these. And once it pulls back and it is holding VWAP, I'm going to take it long. And I'm going to look for it to push back and make new highs. Or at least, get up to a level real close to the high and possibly reject. So I get in here. I was looking for 11. We couldn't get it on this candle. This candle struggled once it got up there. I was looking for 11.25. It couldn't, so I just took a piece off here. And then we ended up selling off, and I took the rest off at break even. So I saw it pulling back. It's going to bounce. I said, okay, I'm going to get back in because I think we're getting ready to push back up. I get in, and you can see we had these wicked candles. This didn't shake me out because I'm using the VWAP here. This is a technical level that you want to defer to. I mean, I know the 9 moving average is here, but for me, the VWAP was what I was going to refer to. And, you know, it pulled back. We got the bounce here, and we were gearing up. We ended up popping this 11 that we had a time getting over. And I went ahead and took let's see, I bought it here at 12:30. Let's go back. I bought it here at 12:30, and I was getting ready to take some off up here through 11, right up here around 11:13. Well, you know, smart me, I'm so used to shorting, I ended up buying 150 shares more versus shorting it. So I'm in 450 shares. I don't want to be. This is not looking like it's going to do much. So I have to go ahead and take, you know, 250 shares off here and locked in some profit. And as we came back, I went ahead and we got stopped out. So that did lock in some profit there. So again, it looks like we're bouncing here. So I buy it, trying to catch it on a break of 11 again. See if we can make this huge move up. We couldn't, it failed, ended up stopping out. And immediately flipped it. I know you can't really see, but they're superimposed on each other because they're both at the same price. I got out. This is where I sold my long. I got out for a loss here at 10.58, 300 shares. Then I turned around and shorted it at the same time for 10.58. It was like, you know, probably a minute and a half later, it was still sitting there, and just let it run. You know, this was one just to let it run, and if it faded into the close, that was perfect. We were going to pick up, you know, some money on it. If it, you know, left and ran up and took out this high, then we were going to get stopped out for a loss. But technically, this stock stayed in play, and it was on autopilot because I wasn't here. You know, it was just running. I'm not going to manage it trying to drive like I was before. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to let it go. And, you know, ended up coming back, getting out right at 3:59, which was I almost forgot about it because I was trying to get the class ready and get that screen share switched over. I almost forgot about it, but ended up, you know, nailing a few. So today turned out relatively good. 296.29. That's, you know, it's not excellent, but it's not bad considering the day that we had and everything that I went through. It's you know, wasn't that bad. So I'll chop this day up. I'll take it, you know, any day. It was just a mentally challenging day. So at the end of the day, I just didn't have any energy. None whatsoever. So that's going to wrap it up for me today. We're going to get back after it tomorrow. We got 2 more days in this week. We're going to see if, you know, we can keep this ball rolling. But as always, if you want to reach out, you can catch me on my social media, ed@averagejoetrader.com. I manage that email 24/7. That's the one that everybody can get me on. So if you have any questions or if you want to chat about what we do, I'll be glad to talk to you. So just let me know. and I will get right back to you. So you guys have a great evening, a great night, or a great morning, depending on where you are in the world. And we will see you bright and early in the morning.